Think a worn-out penny is worthless. Think again. Some bad condition wheat pennies are so rare, they're worth millions of dollars. Today, we're uncovering the most valuable Lincoln cents that collectors would pay a fortune for, even when they're scratched, faded, or barely recognizable. First up, the 1948 Lincoln Wheat Penny, bearing no mint mark, represents one of the classic post-World War II copper coins in the United States, struck exclusively at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the absence of a mint mark. This coin is part of the broader Lincoln cent series, which had been in continuous production since 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and it holds a special place in the hearts of numismatists and casual collectors alike for both its historical significance and its accessibility. The 1948 penny was produced during a period of post-war economic transition in America, when copper remained a primary material in coinage due to the reduction of wartime metal hoarding, which had affected coin composition in the 1940s. Specifically, the Lincoln cent returned to its traditional composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc after the wartime steel cents of 1943. In terms of design, the obverse features the famous profile of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner, a design that has become one of the most enduring in American coinage history, showing Lincoln in a dignified and contemplative pose facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1948, clearly displayed. The reverse of the coin is adorned with the iconic wheat ears flanking the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, with E pluribus unum at the top center, giving the coin its well-known nickname, Wheat Penny, or Wheatie. While the 1948 no-mint mark penny is relatively common compared to rarer issues from the 1930s and early 1940s, its condition greatly affects collector value. A coin in bad condition, often described as good G4 or about good AG3 in numismatic grading terms, may exhibit significant wear, flattened or barely visible details, scratches, discoloration, corrosion, and sometimes even minor surface damage, yet it remains of interest to collectors seeking to complete date sets or pursue historical study. Despite its poor condition, the 1948 Philadelphia Wheat Penny still carries a modest numismatic value, generally ranging from a few cents to a few dollars depending on the severity of wear, market demand, and the presence of any unique characteristics such as die cracks, double dies, or off-center strikes, which can occasionally elevate its worth even in a low-grade state. Its historical context also adds intangible value. Minted shortly after World War II, it represents a period of national recovery, optimism, and the renewed stability of the U.S. Mint, reflecting the resumption of standard coinage practices following wartime disruptions. Collectors often appreciate the coin for its educational potential, illustrating the evolution of the Lincoln cent over decades and providing a tangible connection to post-war America. For those examining coinage trends, the 1948 Wheat Penny demonstrates consistent Philadelphia mint production practices, with over 1.6 billion coins struck that year, making it widespread in circulation yet still collectible for its historical narrative and design lineage. Even in bad condition, the coin provides a clear example of mid-20th century American numismatic craftsmanship, as its design was created with attention to proportionality, legibility, and symbolic resonance, and it allows collectors to trace subtle variations in striking quality and die characteristics that evolved over time. Moreover, the 1948 no-mint mark Wheat Penny is often included in educational displays, teaching aids, and beginner coin collections, helping enthusiasts understand concepts of grading, wear, metal composition, mint history, and post-war coinage trends, while also serving as a reference point for comparative study with coins from other years and mints. It exemplifies the intersection of commonality and collectibility, showing how a seemingly ordinary penny can embody historical, artistic, and numismatic significance, with each coin telling a story of its circulation, its journey through hands and pockets, and the passage of time over more than 7 decades. Additionally, bad condition coins like these are crucial for budget-conscious collectors and educators, as they provide access to historical artifacts without the prohibitive cost of high-grade specimens. Collectors may further explore this coin for potential errors or varieties, such as repunched dates or double dies, which, while rare, can occur even in coins that show heavy wear, making every surviving example potentially unique. Finally, the 1948 Philadelphia Wheat Penny, though modest in market value when worn or damaged, remains a vital piece of American numismatic heritage, connecting the present generation to the post-war era, honoring Lincoln's legacy, illustrating mid-20th century minting practices, and offering endless opportunities for study, appreciation, and historical reflection, thus making it a coin of enduring interest to anyone fascinated by American history, coin collecting, or the evolution of currency over time, with layers of significance that transcend its simple copper appearance, allowing it to stand as both a collectible artifact and a symbol of the era in which it was created. Next up, the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a D mint mark, produced at the Denver Mint, represents the very last year of the iconic wheat reverse Lincoln cent series, which had been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1909, celebrating Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday and standing as a symbol of enduring national heritage. And although the 1958 D penny is widely circulated, especially in lower grades, it still carries immense historical and numismatic significance, particularly for collectors seeking to complete date and mint collections or study the evolution of the Lincoln cent design, and this coin serves as a bridge between the wheat cent era and the subsequent Lincoln Memorial reverse design introduced in 1959, marking a pivotal transition in U.S. numismatic history, reflecting the post-World War II economic stability, consumer prosperity, and the mint's resumption of large-scale copper coin production after the disruptions of wartime metal shortages and experimental alloys, with the 1958 D penny being composed of the traditional 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc alloy, a material choice that ensures durability while maintaining a classic reddish-brown appearance even after decades of circulation. The obverse features the enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner, depicting Lincoln in profile facing right, with inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1958 prominently displayed, and the Denver D mint mark located below the date signifies its place of origin, while the reverse showcases the famous twin wheat ears, flanking the inscriptions, 1 cent, and United States of America, with E pluribus unum at the top, making this coin instantly recognizable and beloved by collectors. And although the 1958 D penny is technically a common issue, especially considering over 616 million pieces were struck at the Denver Mint, coins in bad condition, graded typically as good G4 or about good AG3, present heavy wear that significantly affects details, with Lincoln's facial features, coat lines, and hair smoothed over, and the wheat stalks on the reverse often partially or completely worn down, along with scratches, discoloration, minor corrosion, nicks, and sometimes flattened edges. Yet these low-grade examples remain a vital part of collecting, educational studies, and historical representation, providing tangible insight into how circulation, handling, and environmental factors affect coin surfaces over decades. Even in poor condition, collectors may find value in subtle die variations, repunched mint marks, double dies, or other minting anomalies, which can elevate a coin's worth far above typical circulation value, and studying such coins allows enthusiasts to understand minting practices, striking pressure variations, die polishing, and wear patterns, revealing how coins were mass-produced and distributed across the country, while also illustrating trends in mid-20th century coinage and the transition from large copper to later compositions in response to rising metal costs and evolving minting technology. The 1958 penny in bad condition remains accessible for beginner collectors, teaching tools, and budget-conscious enthusiasts while also serving as an affordable yet historically significant artifact, embodying the post-war American experience, reflecting the economy, culture, and circulation habits of the era, and standing as a physical connection to a generation that lived through the late 1950s, making it more than just a small copper coin, but a symbol of continuity, change, and numismatic storytelling, bridging generations of collectors, historians, and casual enthusiasts alike. Furthermore, the coin's continued appeal lies in its combination of historical context, iconic design, material composition, and its place as the final year of the wheat cent, meaning that even heavily worn specimens are educational and collectible, illustrating the journey of pennies through pockets, cash registers, and decades of circulation, as well as offering opportunities for studying color changes, patina formation, surface wear, and coin cleaning effects, while also enabling comparisons to higher-grade examples, coins from other mints, and even rare error varieties from the same year, ultimately demonstrating that the 1958 wheat penny in bad condition, despite its appearance of being ordinary or unremarkable, holds layers of significance, historical narrative, and numismatic value that make it an enduring object of fascination, a collectible cornerstone for date and mint sets, and a tangible piece of American history, highlighting the artistry, craftsmanship, and historical legacy of the Lincoln cent, as well as the story of post-war America, minting practices, and the evolution of coin collecting culture that continues to captivate millions of enthusiasts around the world today, proving that even the most heavily worn, scratched, or faded penny can offer an infinite depth of historical, educational, and collectible interest to anyone passionate about coins, U.S. history, or numismatics in general. Next up, the 1951 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, stands as a classic example of mid-20th century American coinage and represents a period of economic rebuilding and stability in the United States following World War II, making it historically significant despite being a common date coin, and the absence of a mint mark below the date clearly identifies it as a Philadelphia issue, which was the primary mint for producing cents during that era, using the standard 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc alloy that had returned after wartime steel in experimental compositions earlier in the 1940s, giving the coin its traditional reddish-brown tone that often darkens or dulls significantly when found in bad condition. The obverse of the coin features the timeless portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," across the top rim, "Liberty," to the left, and the date 1951 to the right, all of which may appear weak, partially worn, or flattened on heavily circulated examples, while the reverse displays the iconic wheat ears framing the words, "1 cent," and "United States of America," topped by, "E pluribus unum." Though in poor or heavily worn condition, these wheat stalks are often smooth, incomplete, or barely visible, a key characteristic of low-grade specimens. In 1951, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion wheat pennies, making the no-mint mark version extremely common in circulation, yet coins in bad condition, typically graded about good AG3 to good G4, tell a powerful story of long circulation, often showing heavy surface wear, rounded rims, scratches, contact marks, discoloration, oxidation, dark toning, and sometimes environmental damage, all of which significantly reduce market value but do not eliminate historical or educational importance. Despite its worn appearance, The 1951 no-mint mark wheat penny remains highly collectible for date-set and type-set collectors, beginners learning coin grading, and educators demonstrating circulation wear, as it perfectly illustrates how copper coins age over decades of everyday use, passing through countless hands, registers, and wallets during the post-war consumer boom of the early 1950s. In terms of value, a badly worn 1951 Philadelphia wheat penny usually carries a modest worth, often only a few cents above face value, unless it possesses unusual characteristics such as die cracks, off-center strikes, lamination errors, repunched dates, or double die varieties, which can dramatically increase its desirability and price even when heavily worn, making every example worth close inspection. From a numismatic study perspective, bad condition coins like this are essential for understanding minting pressure inconsistencies, die fatigue, metal flow, and long-term copper oxidation, as wear patterns reveal which design elements were highest or most exposed, while color variations, from brown to dark chocolate or even black, tell stories about storage conditions and environmental exposure. Historically, the 1951 wheat penny reflects a time when pennies had real purchasing power, were widely used in daily transactions, and were produced in massive quantities to support a growing population and expanding economy. And even though this particular issue is not rare, its role as part of the long-running Wheat Penny series 1909-1958 places it firmly within one of the most beloved eras of U.S. coinage, just 8 years before the design transitioned to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse. Collectors often keep worn examples of the 1951 no-mint mark sent as reference coins, comparing them to higher-grade pieces or coins from other mints to better understand grading standards and historical mint output. While others appreciate them simply as tangible relics of American life in the early Cold War era, when the nation was experiencing rapid industrial growth, technological change, and cultural transformation, ultimately, the 1951 Philadelphia wheat penny in bad condition, though humble in appearance and limited in monetary value, remains rich in historical meaning, numismatic educational value, and storytelling potential, proving that even the most worn, scratched, or faded penny can represent decades of history, craftsmanship, and everyday human interaction, making it an enduring symbol of America's copper cent legacy and a meaningful piece for collectors, historians, and enthusiasts who understand that true value is not always measured by condition or price, but by the depth of history a small coin can carry through time. Next up, the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a D mint mark, produced at the Denver Mint, is a classic example of late-era wheat cent coinage and reflects a period of strong economic growth and cultural change in the United States during the mid-1950s, a time when everyday coinage like the penny was still heavily used in daily commerce, making coins such as this one extremely common in circulation but historically rich in context and meaning, and the presence of the D mint mark beneath the date clearly identifies its origin at the Denver Mint, which struck hundreds of millions of cents that year using the standard 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc alloy, a composition that gave the coin its traditional weight, feel, and copper-brown appearance that often darkens significantly after decades of use, especially in bad condition examples. The obverse of the coin features the iconic right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," along the upper rim, "Liberty," to the left of Lincoln's profile, and the date 1956 to the right, all of which may appear weak, flattened, or partially merged into the surface on heavily worn coins, while the reverse displays the instantly recognizable wheat ears framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, with E pluribus unum at the top. Though in coins graded about good AG3 or good G4, these wheat stalks are often heavily smoothed, broken, or nearly invisible due to decades of circulation. The Denver Mint produced approximately 1.1 billion wheat pennies in 1956, making the 1956 a very common date in terms of mintage, yet coins in bad condition still hold value as historical artifacts and educational tools, showing extensive wear patterns such as rounded rims, surface scratches, contact marks, edge nicks, dark toning, copper oxidation, minor corrosion, and sometimes environmental damage from moisture or soil exposure, all of which significantly reduce numismatic market value but add to the coin's storytelling potential, as each mark represents years of use in shops, pockets, and cash registers across mid-century America. Despite its worn appearance, the 1956 wheat penny remains a key piece for date and mint set collectors, beginners learning grading standards, and numismatists studying the final decades of the wheat cent series, which ended just 2 years later in 1958, making this coin part of the closing chapter of one of the most beloved designs in U.S. coin history. In terms of monetary value, a badly worn 1956 wheat penny typically sells for only a few cents above face value unless it displays unusual features such as die cracks, cuds, off-center strikes, lamination errors, weak strikes, or double die varieties, which can greatly increase collector interest and price even in low grades, encouraging collectors to carefully inspect even the most worn examples. From a historical standpoint, the 1956 penny reflects an era when copper coins still had real purchasing power and were minted in massive quantities to support a rapidly expanding population and consumer economy, and studying such coins allows collectors to understand mid-20th century minting technology, die life, metal flow, and strike quality, while also revealing how long-term circulation affects different design elements, as Lincoln's cheek, jawline, and coat lines typically wear first, followed by the wheat stalks on the reverse. Collectors and educators often keep low-grade examples like this as reference coins, using them to demonstrate grading differences between about good, and fine conditions, and to show how copper color changes over time, from red to brown to deep chocolate or nearly black, depending on storage and environmental exposure. Ultimately, the 1956 wheat penny in bad condition, though modest in appearance and limited in financial value, remains a meaningful piece of American numismatic heritage, serving as a tangible connection to everyday life in the 1950s, a teaching tool for understanding coin wear and minting practices, and a reminder that even the most heavily worn penny carries decades of history, craftsmanship, and human interaction, proving that true numismatic significance lies not only in rarity or pristine condition, but in the rich stories preserved within even the simplest copper coin. Please like and subscribe to my channel.